Most abandoned houses are easy to explain. Owners run out of money, fires cause damage, neighborhoods decline, people move on. But a small number of homes were not slowly forgotten. They were walked away from suddenly. Doors left unlocked, furniture still inside, food left behind, personal belongings never returned for. Something happened inside the house, and whatever it was caused the people living there to leave fast and never come back. Today we're counting down 10 real houses that were abandoned immediately after unexplained events. The first night something touched him, he left the house and never slept there again. The Hinsdale House sits on a remote piece of land near Hinsdale, New York. It was built in the mid-1800s and changed hands several times, but the house was permanently abandoned in the 1970s after a series of events that were documented by police reports and later investigated by multiple research groups. The Dandy family moved into the house in 1974. Within weeks, they reported violent disturbances. Objects moved on their own, furniture shifted, loud footsteps came from empty rooms, doors slammed repeatedly. What made this case different was the physical interaction. Members of the family reported being scratched. One family member said something grabbed his leg while he was asleep. Another reported being pushed down the stairs. Local police were called multiple times. Officers noted unexplained noises and structural vibrations without a clear source. At one point, a police officer reported seeing an object move across a room while no one was near it. The final incident happened during a prayer gathering. Witnesses reported violent shaking of the building and loud banging that seemed to come from inside the walls. The family left that night. They did not pack, they did not return for their belongings. The house remained vacant for years, and later investigations confirmed structural damage consistent with heavy internal force, but no evidence of natural causes. To this day, the Hinsdale House is considered one of the most documented sudden abandonments in New York State. They thought they were buying a normal suburban home until the ground beneath it started rejecting them. In the 1980s, a family purchased a newly built home in Black Hope, Texas. Shortly after moving in, strange things began happening. Cabinets opened on their own, items fell repeatedly from shelves, pictures tilted overnight. Then, the physical effects began. Family members experienced sudden illnesses, severe fatigue, nosebleeds, headaches. Pets became aggressive and anxious. Eventually, contractors discovered the house had been built directly over a forgotten cemetery. Graves were disturbed during construction and remains were displaced. Shortly after this discovery, the activity escalated dramatically. Witnesses reported loud knocking beneath the floors. Apparitions were seen in hallways. Objects were thrown across rooms. The family left immediately after several nights of intense disturbances. They abandoned furniture and personal items. The house sat empty for years. Later owners attempted to move the structure but abandoned it again after similar experiences. This case is well documented through court filings, news reports, and historical records confirming the cemetery location. The night the fire started itself, the family fled and never came back. The Pickering House is one of the oldest homes in Salem, built in the 1600s. While the house itself still stands today, parts of it were abandoned after unexplained events that occurred in the early 1800s. Historical letters and town records describe a series of unexplained fires that began inside locked rooms. No accelerants were found, chimneys were inspected and cleared. Each fire started suddenly and burned intensely before extinguishing itself. The family living there left the house abruptly after the third incident. According to records, they left personal belongings behind and relocated out of Salem entirely. Local officials could not determine a cause. Fire investigators at the time noted that the ignition points were inconsistent with candle placements or hearth activity. The house remained partially abandoned for decades before being restored. After two separate police officers witnessed unexplained behavior, the house was cleared and abandoned. In 2011, the Amons family moved into a rental home in Gary, Indiana. Within weeks, they reported disturbing phenomena. Doors slammed, shadows appeared, footsteps followed people room to room. Then came the events involving the children. Doctors and social workers documented behavior that could not be medically explained. One child reportedly walked backward up a wall during a hospital visit, witnessed by medical staff. Police were called multiple times. In one report, an officer described seeing a child child levitate briefly above the bed. After investigations by CPS and local law enforcement, the family was ordered to leave the home. The house was boarded up and later demolished. Official police records and medical reports still exist related to this case, making it one of the most controversial sudden abandonments in recent history. The voice that spoke through hers was not hers, and the family left the same night it happened. In the late 1800s, a young girl named Mary Roth lived in Illinois. Suddenly, she began speaking in a different voice, claiming to be a woman who had died in a nearby house. Neighbors documented the voice speaking foreign phrases Mary did not know. The personality persisted for weeks. The activity escalated with loud knocking, furniture movement, and unexplained lights. The family fled the house after a violent episode where Mary collapsed and screamed for hours. The house was left vacant and later demolished. Newspaper archives from the time contain detailed first-hand accounts, making this one of the earliest recorded sudden abandonments tied to unexplained events. Something walked through the walls and the family ran. The Palmer House in Palmer Lake, Colorado, became infamous after a family moved in during the 1950s. Almost immediately, they experienced loud pounding inside the walls. Heavy footsteps moved across ceilings. Objects were knocked over violently. At one point, a dresser was reportedly dragged across a room without explanation. The family left the house in the middle of the night, leaving belongings behind. Multiple later owners attempted to live there, but each left after brief stays. Local records confirm repeated occupancy attempts followed by immediate vacancy. The moment the screams started, the family fled barefoot into the street. In the 1940s, a family living in San Pedro, California, reported sudden violent screaming coming from empty rooms. The sounds grew louder and moved through the house. Neighbors confirmed hearing it from outside. Police searched the home and found nothing. That night, the family left permanently. The house remained empty for years and was eventually sold at a loss. Police logs confirm the response call and witness statements. They fled after the bed began lifting off the floor. The Tolman House in New York dates back to the 1700s. In the 1800s, a family reported repeated violent shaking of furniture. One incident involved a bed lifting with a person still lying on it. The family left immediately and refused to re-enter. Local church records mention the abandonment and the relocation. The house did not stay empty because of its reputation. It stayed empty because people kept leaving after staying inside it. After the 1912 horrific crimes, multiple caretakers and temporary residents attempted to live in or monitor the Villisca House. Each attempt ended abruptly. In the 1920s, a hired caretaker reported footsteps following him from room to room and doors opening on their own at night. He left after only a few days and refused to return. Decades later, another overnight caretaker reported hearing voices upstairs and the sound of a bed sliding across the floor in an empty room. He left before morning and abandoned his belongings inside. Similar reports continued into the 1990s, with caretakers quitting suddenly after hearing voices and objects moving. The house was repeatedly left vacant because no one would stay inside it. The family left because police watched the house move on its own. In 1977, the Hodgson family began experiencing violent disturbances in their Enfield home, including furniture sliding across rooms and objects being thrown. Police were called, and one officer later confirmed in his report that he witnessed a chair move without anyone touching it. As the activity intensified, the family became unable to sleep and feared staying in the house. Neighbors heard loud banging, and journalists documented objects moving during visits. At the height of the disturbances, the family left the home entirely for a period of time, taking only essentials. Investigators entering the empty house reported continued movement and unexplained noises. The house was temporarily abandoned because events were witnessed by outsiders, not just the family. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Bye!